welcome to the discussion portion of the playthrough. I am Ktdata, and joining me is the KO King, Dr. J. Always thanks for doing the rules.
No problem.
And we have Ken Pull over there. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man.
I forgot to say it during our Most Wanted video. I just want to say thanks for running the camera that time, so I greatly appreciate that.
Yep.
Want to make sure you get credit due where credit's due.
Yeah, I did a really good job on that.
All right, so we are talking today about Terraforming Mars. It is a engine builder game, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I believe it's by Stronghold Games.
Stronghold Games. It's on the box behind us.
Oh yeah, Stronghold Games.
And FryxGames.
Yeah, and do you want to try to say his name because I'll screw it up?
Jacob Frixelius.
Yep, Jacob
Yeah,
Frixelius.
Frixelius.
It's a pretty awesome name.
And if you've heard from our video, spoiler alert, Jared in our How to Play. So if you haven't watched that, the link will show up there. He mentioned that this is probably one of your most favorite games, right?
Yeah, I don't own it, but we've played it a few times recently, and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, this is
so much fun.
This is definitely one of my favorite games that I didn't think I would like because I am superficial, and when I saw the art and stuff on this, I'm like, this doesn't look.
Yeah, you guys are like component snobs, and you're like, oh, the components in this game are terrible. They're so bad, and I'm like, what's wrong with them? I mean,
I really feel like I'm like mixed on the components. Like some of the art is wonky, some of the graphic design. I mean, the graphic design is super functional.
But it's mostly stock photo.
And it's not stunning or anything, but I love like these cubes, the gold and the copper and the silver, and even just the translucent player color cubes. I really, really like those. Those honestly, they're probably my favorite cubes of any game.
So I would say anything in cube shape I actually like in this, but those are kind of your standard size
The
things.
sugar cubes are nice for in your tea.
I don't love the cubes. I don't dislike them, but
you just want them to be metal. You want them to feel
You just
substantial.
want them to be minis.
I want them to be metal so I can throw them at people.
Yeah. I think art style-wise, the only thing that distracts me is the art on the cards because it looks like they just went through a stock photo site.
that
and just
detracts
picked.
you to the game?
That just detracts from it.
Oh, detracts from it.
I actually like the player board design.
I don't like
Functionality is not
yeah.
like the artwork on it, like the pictures
So like,
and everything.
like the comet
Yeah.
is one that we show in the How to Play video. It looks like really not great.
I don't mind the art. I feel like it provides me with what I want. I don't like the player boards, and I really dislike the box.
Yeah, the box is literally a
inside
box
of the box.
Yeah, there's no trench. There's no attempt at an insert at all in the box. It just comes.
And that wouldn't annoy me if this was like a $30 game, $20 game. But the MSRP around is $60 to $70, which bugs me a little bit when you compare it to other games in that price range. It comes with nice trays. Remember the first time we packed my copy up and we put everything in the box. I'm like, oh, the cards.
But there is an
an
upside to that though too, because the game has a bunch of expansions
that you
that
can
are available.
spend more money.
Yeah, you can get expansions and they'll all fit inside the box. I have so many games where I get an expansion and because of the original insert, I have to end up taking that out and throwing everything in the box anyway. Yeah. So it's not that big of a problem.
I actually don't. This is going to sound weird. I don't like adding my expansions to my box because I want my expansion box. Like I want.
For me, it totally depends on the game.
Yeah.
Something like this, I would probably be just putting everything in the box because I really don't. From what I've seen of the expansions so far, now I know that the next one that's coming out is like a prequel or something that like you build, if I remember correctly. Like you build up the corporation before you start terraforming
that sounds
Mars.
kind of cool.
So that one would maybe be one that I'd want to keep separate. But the others, there's boards and then there's cards, and I don't see why you would play with less than that. Like it doesn't sound like anything that really overcomplicates the game or would take away from the experience. So I just be like, yeah, throw them in, whatever, And if it's the Venus thing and someone runs into a Venus card in my thing and we're not playing with the Venus map, just disregard it.
Yeah.
Draw a new card,
I'll be honest. I don't love this game.
So you're the odd man out, which I'm surprised because this is an engine builder, and one of your favorite things is setting stuff up,
finding combos,
getting
and making those combos
work.
Trigger. Yeah,
but it was weird. It's like when you kind of looked like what Jared looks like when he plays Euro.
most Euro games.
Worker placement Euros. Jared's like any other game you're in the zone, but you just seem like it didn't seem to click that well when you're playing it.
I should say I don't dislike it. It's just I don't plan on purchasing it. I'm okay when it comes to the table.
We have the problem buying the exact same game,
but
like,
it's not something I'm excited to play with a different group of guys. It's just I don't know. Something about it just doesn't click with me. I don't know what it is. For one thing, I don't like it's called Terraforming Mars, and you actually don't have to put cities out, and you can just kind of let everybody else. I know there's some benefit.
You get a lot of points. Like you're not going to get points if you don't terraform Mars.
But putting
the last time
the greeneries
played, I
out,
think that I had a total of like 1 or 2 tiles out, and all throughout the game, I was way ahead on the score track. And then when we did end game scoring, I'm pretty sure I was like last by a huge margin. Once like you really need to terraform Mars.
Yeah. Like
even if you don't have to.
Yeah, the last playthrough I went with, I would have beat Jared, but he beat me like in terms of the terraforming landscape game. That's how he got the
I
enough
had
points
like
to beat
8 cities on Mars, which is crazy because other games I've played, I maybe get 2, and the next person had like 3 cities on the map, and I was just like throwing cities down. I was paying 25 credits to throw cities down all over the place, and got a bunch of points off of cities.
Yeah, and you still only beat me by like 10, 20 points.
Yeah, it was,
and that was because
like
I remember doing the scoring, and I looked down like Jared's gonna beat me just because he has more tiles out than I do.
Yeah,
like that was the difference maker.
Yeah, I really like I love the whole terraforming the board thing, and I love the individual corporations. We didn't go over that on the how to play video, but there's 12 different corporations that have their own kind of unique strengths and weaknesses, and every time I've played with a different one, and I love that variability. I love looking at your corporation and saying, okay, what are my strengths and how am I going to play to that? And then when we get our cards every round, we do the drafting variant where we draft them, and so that just adds another level of depth to the game that I just really like. And I also love just the theme of it. Like when I sit here and I play a card and it's like, okay, I am terraforming Ganymede, which is one of Mars's moons. Like, okay, this is going to get me extra terraforming points. Like they nailed the flavor on every single card and how it works with the mechanics. They just nailed it.
I don't know why I don't love it. I can't give you like I don't know, something doesn't grab me with it.
Because there aren't a bunch of like giant monsters.
There's nothing to KO. There's no miniatures.
Like, what would you paint?
There's no devil worshippers.
Yeah.
No cultists.
This is probably one of the cleanest, like less graphic games that you play with us.
Yeah.
I got some other games that we play that are not dark themed or
name one.
Evolution.
No.
Root, Evolution. I got a closet full of them because I play them with my family.
But not with us. Every time it's like, let's get the others out. Come on, let's go do this.
Can't wait for hate to come.
Yeah, let's go to Champions of Midgard.
With any of my others. So,
and we won't even talk about Ancestry.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is because like I said, I don't dislike it. I'd probably purchase if it came across as a good deal, but I feel like that the price point for what I get plus the aftermarket really scares me because I think an insert would be good.
That's about
some plastic.
So you're just worried about paying full price for a game that you don't feel like is worth that price, and then
I think that
having to invest a whole bunch in like the little things that go over the player board, upgraded tokens.
I think it turns me off a little bit.
Probably one of the best candidates that I know of for like, pimp my game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's
Ken and I we've been talking about
the different boards and overlays and holders and things for your player board.
I really think an overlay is
if you're watching the video. If you can see this, everything just moves. Like you bump the table at all, and you have no idea.
If you have a table
doing.
kicker, or if you're like me, because I accidentally get the table all the time, stuff's gonna move around.
I've got the bouncy leg, and I just have a hard time staying still for 3 hours to play a game. So bumps happen, and if it's a bad one, like you can really mess up the game state.
So like I Ken, you and I, we've been talking about the different player boards and stuff. So
Yeah. There's a lot of options, which is really cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of options, but there's 5 different player boards you got to cover. And on average, when I looked at it, it's going to cost you somewhere between $20 to $30 just to get some kind of overlay for all the
You're
different
looking
pieces.
at basically $5 to $10
Yeah.
each board, which adds up when you've already paid, you know.
Especially when you've already paid for a $60, $70 game right there. Even on sale, you just buy those player boards, you're already halfway through to the price of what you paid for the game.
And then, I mean, there's a ton of cards that get passed around.
Yeah, because I want to sleeve
shuffled between games. Like I bought mine on like secondhand, and it was already sleeved, which I'm happy about because I would have definitely sleeved it.
Because I think there are about 300 cards.
So that was the biggest thing that I would say if you're getting this game, sleeve the deck, because this is a fat deck of cards, and if you're not bridge shuffling it, and even if you are, you're going to have a really hard time shuffling these cards without sleeves. Yeah. Sleeves make it way, way easier to shuffle. So that's kind of an issue. And you do end up shuffling the deck some games where you need to reshuffle. And
So I think
start
that's
over.
probably
I
the
think
more
we've
we
gone
talk.
through the deck just about every
I
game
think so,
that I've played, aside from when I've played solo, which this game plays awesome.
Yeah,
solo.
how's it solo? Because I haven't done it before. And how is it different between just playing, with a group of?
So the biggest difference with playing solo is you're on a timer. So you've got, and I don't remember exactly how many. I want to say it's like 14 rounds. Yeah, looking at the board.
Is that what the solo thing means here?
So going up the terraforming track with your little sugar cube marker, that's your years or whatever,
Generations,
yeah.
And so with the regular game, there isn't a limit. You just kind of go until all of the tracks have been filled
or
up.
everybody playing passes out.
With this, with the solo game, you are going for 14 generations, and you need to hit all of the victory conditions, and then you also score your points, and you can, like, there's I think a BGG forum that people submit their points and see who's like the top solo terraformer or whatever. I don't know if I've just been lucky or if I've been, playing to win or possibly not playing right, which like
don't tell Jared that. He's gonna be like he's gonna go like, you're not following the rules.
Well, the thing with solo board gaming is if you make a mistake, there's no one to question you. and it's not a video game that's just going to correct it. So like I recognize that there's a potential for player error. I haven't felt like it's hard to finish and win the game. It really is more of a if you keep track of your score, try and beat yourself, try and beat your friends, try and beat the Board Game Geek forums or whatever.
It seems like the kind of game where they had a really sweet idea to play with 4 to 5 people, up to 5 people, and they were like, well, let's put a solo variant into the game.
Yeah. I would honestly say that it's almost like two very different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing the solo game is very kind of take your time, look at the cards, really think about what you're doing, because you are on a timer, and if you make it, if it gets to the 14th generation and you haven't put out all 9 oceans, you haven't hit 14% oxygen, you haven't raised the temperature to 8
degrees
8 degrees Celsius, then you lose.
Celsius, that's a joke.
It's used everywhere else on our planet. Why would it not be used somewhere? Anyways,
when logical people set up standards, that's just
it is like there is a timer. It can play kind of long if you really just kind of sit there and roll over every decision. I'm more of an impulse guy, and I go, "Hey, that looks cool. That looks fun.
Let's do it."
And I find myself as you're buying cards every round when I'm playing solo, I'm going, all right, this one looks cool for a potential combo later with something else that I'm holding on to, but these ones are ones that I need to use to win the game, because I don't want to lose, because regardless of how many points you get, you win or you lose at generation 14.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys, so compare that to how the normal game ends. So the normal game ends is once you get to
It
14
feels
oxygen, you get to 8 Celsius, and you put all the ocean tiles. I've noticed this, that you
It's
can
long.
you can extend the game by not doing any of them.
It feels long enough anyway.
Yeah.
If you have a group of people who want to build engines and really get into the engine building and the resource management and all of that, you can have a nearly endless game.
Yeah, because
you
I
really can.
I remember our last playthrough. I didn't want to tell you guys, but I was purposely doing that. 'Cause
No, it's true because, and I think it has to do with the first couple times you play the game, you start thinking, oh, well, I want to make this game last so I get my engine going. And so you try to avoid raising those tracks and putting the ocean tiles out, but you don't realize just how long it takes to raise both tracks and get all the ocean tiles out. Like if you are actively trying, you're probably looking at least an hour and a half game.
Yeah, and the funny part is, I don't know why I was so worried about it, because I was playing that Inventrex corporation, which is one of my favorite corporations to play, since it has its special ability that allows you to plus or minus the minimum or maximum requirements for cards.
Right.
So I don't even need it to be like exact. I just need it to be close, but I was still concerned about like keeping it at the the temperature of the card.
In a way, it addresses the biggest problem that most people have with engine building games, which is
You build the
get
engine,
your
but you don't get
going, and as
then it's
soon as your
over,
engine
yep.
is good, the game ends. With this one, that's not necessarily the case, and it's hard to say. I mean, it really is kind of on a case-by-case basis whether or not that's a good thing. There's definitely games where it's like, cool, I got to do this, and I got to put together this really cool combo, and there's other games where it's like, you know, if Kevin would have just played 2 more oceans, which he clearly had the cards for, we could have finished this game an hour and a half ago. We could have taken it down, set it back up again, and played it again. But no, Kevin has to get his engine going. You know, so
Well, I sometimes I want to know what it feels like to be like Russ.
yeah,
Well,
I mean, it can go both ways, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know,
and,
like-
and another interesting thing about it is that once you've played for a while, you realize there's no player who can hold the game hostage by making it take forever, because you've got these out here. You can raise any of the tracks as long as you just pay for it. Anybody can raise it and finish the game if it's almost over. So, and I've actually noticed playing more and more that I like to raise those. I like to do that because it increases my terraforming rating, which increases how much income I get every round. And if you're the one doing that, you're going to be ahead.
Really kind of snowball on it.
So you can get ahead.
That was the other thing I wanted to ask you about. So in here, there's resource generation, right? Mm-hmm. And I've noticed where like I kind of like getting the steel and the what is this the
titanium
up, because they have equivalents to mega credits that you can use. But I don't think that's the most efficient way, because Jared, you seem to always ramp up onto a mega credit generating engine. Like what do you guys think is the best strategy in terms of that? Do you want to focus on mega credits, or do you kind of want to get some of the other stuff?
On your
It totally depends on your corporation and your play style. So when we played, Alex, who's not here right now, he played Ecoline. They're totally focused on getting plants and putting greenery tiles out,
evolving your world.
Yeah, if you're playing, you want some mega credit production. But as long as he's throwing greenery tiles down, he's going to get ahead on the terraforming track and going to get more money
That
anyway.
sounds cheesy
Raising
too,
the
though. Maybe it's
oxygen.
some of the cheesiness of this, like mega credits.
Why
Like,
don't-
I don't know why
Well,
that.
it's a space game. They have to have credits of some sort.
I mean,
Yeah, just
Mega.
call them space
and
credits.
they're
It's fine.
giant corporations. We can't. It would be obnoxious if it was in trillions of dollars. Like I'm going to pay $5 trillion for
Do
this.
you want us to start calling it Bitcoin?
Sure.
Because I yeah, let's just start calling it Bitcoin instead of mega credits.
I'm not.
Well,
It's the future, Russ. There's not going to be coins in the future.
I'm not saying I really dislike this game. I know it's probably coming across that way, and I actually think this game would be a lot more popular. I know it gets a lot of love and it's popular out there, but for some reason, for me, timing of this game when it was released seems to coordinate in my mind with Scythe.
yeah,
And I think this was overshadowed, and I'm not getting on the Scythe train because, you know, Dr. J and I are going to get a lot of hate comments if we discuss
coolest
Scythe.
ships to collect carrots.
We don't.
Yeah,
We don't love
Particularly
that
care
game.
for it.
coolest ships to collect carrots, right?
Yeah.
I-
And that's an example of one of those engine games that just ends. But I think had this game released in a different time frame, I feel like it would get a lot more. Like, for some reason, I coordinate this with Scythe. I don't know if you guys do that, like in your mind.
I don't. Not even close.
I don't know.
I personally think that there's just something about it that it just doesn't click with you. And because of that, you focus on every single thing that you don't like. And you go, I think the problem might be the components. I think the problem might be the art. I think the problem might be the box.
Oh, the box is definitely a huge issue for me.
But I think that just overall, not every game is for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is ultimately what it is. But because of that and the fact that we all really like it and we all want to play it, you kind of find a different thing that you don't like every time you play. Or every time you pull it out and look at it and film a
I
video
do
about
enjoy it, though. It's not like if we pull it out to play, I'm going to be like, oh, I hate that game. I just might be like, let's play something else.
It's kind of like how we are with the others. We're like a little apathetic. I don't hate the others, but I'm like, I might rather play something else.
Yeah. And then when we're done, it's not like I disliked it. I don't. It's just.
I think it might be too dry
There's
for
no
you.
reason for it.
I think it might be too dry for you.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's no reason for it.
You're very
Really.
much a theme guy, and that's why you like miniatures and painting them, and all of that stuff helps emerge.
See, and that's
in
so
the
funny
theme.
because for me, I feel so immersed when I play this game. I feel like I am in control of a giant mega corporation.
I think
that says a lot about you,
immersive.
Jared. I'm worried. If you ever get a CEO position, I'm going to be worried. For
It's
the
really
world.
funny because one of the games that we played, I was like the big evil powerful corporation, and Alex was Ecoline, the dumb little hippie corporation who was all about,
it's all about hemp, man.
And the whole
hemp
time,
for everything.
the whole time, like I would like crash comets or meteors into it, and it'd be like to take plants from somebody or destroy someone's plant production. I'm like, I just totally crashed into Alex's, forests that he's been planting there, and now he's losing his plant production or whatever.
Yeah. See, I would definitely say that it's immersive, but I still think it's dry. I think it is. It's very immersive on the theme. It's kind of a dry theme. I mean, you're making the planet habitable.
Yeah, well, if you think about it,
that's what terraforming
That's
is.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
it's not demons coming out of the earth and the world's going to end.
All I like is demons.
because every game you show us, hey,
That's
check
because
this
you
out.
love the others and anything Cthulhu themed, and you started reading Lovecraft.
I know,
it's
like
I do like
that's
those,
rough.
but
Hate
That's
is one
rough.
of your next games coming out.
Let's look at these. I got Disney code names and Harry Potter on the shelf and Ancestry, and then my other shelf I got a bunch of other games.
I really love the theme, but I'm a really big space guy too. I know that.
Yeah,
like,
Jared and I, that's what we
when
want.
Hero Realms came out, you guys were like, "Oh, Hero Realms is the best thing ever," and I'm like, "I have Star Realms. I've had it for years. And I've said we should play it," and you guys
But
are
there's
like,
not
"But
individual
it's
character
but it's
packs."
not fantasy."
No, they do.
That may be true because
I've spent a
there's
large sum of
very-
money on Hero or on Star Realms to know that they have individual character packs.
there
It's
is.
not the same.
I think there is
not
something
fantasy
to the space because I don't love all space games.
Oh, see, this theme really grabs me, and I feel the theme really heavy
You
when
like
I play it.
Eclipse.
I do. It's
What's wrong with
awesome.
Eclipse?
Just kidding.
Like Jared and I, anytime we see the space games, we're like, oh.
Every time I'm like, I have one at home that I look at and I'm like, I've never heard of it before, but I want to try it because it's space themed.
That's why I bought Pulsar. I'm like, oh, it's in space. I'm buying this.
I don't want to get hate comments because I do enjoy this game. It's just not one that I'm going to put on my own shelf.
It's all a matter of flavor. Everyone's got
Yeah.
their own tastes, and they
But
won't
do you like the
some
game
games that other
mechanics?
people like.
I kind of
do.
think that I'm
Like-
on the other side of the coin from Dr. J here. The theme is kind of whatever. This game for me absolutely rides on the mechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mechanics are good.
Yeah, so
Like the theme and the mechanics absolutely like work really, really well together. What you're doing, it really feels like the board game but it feels like you're terraforming Mars. It feels
Yeah.
like you're doing the whole thing. It does feel like you are controlling a corporation and all of that. But it's a tight game. Like it plays really well.
It's a
And
really
if you-
well designed game.
I can't think of another theme that you could like slap on. I mean, there's definitely some games where it's like you can slap anything.
I think
on
this
and
is
it would
one of
work.
the few
Yeah.
This
games
is
where
one
we
that-
haven't had like rules like specific
Yeah, I don't-
interaction questions with cards.
I don't know what other theme
Yeah.
you could do, but the theme
could
isn't
throw
certainly not
Cthulhu
what
in
grabbed
there.
me. If you
Terraforming Arli.
if you could figure out another theme that clicks with the mechanics, I think that I'd be just as much on board with it as I am with this. But it would take a theme that clicks with it, and this theme does click
I do
perfectly.
definitely feel like it was designed around the theme and not around specific
I
mechanics.
want to try some of the expansions.
I would love to. I would love to try the Venus expansion, and more cards in the deck. I think would just be awesome.
All right, so Jared, I know we're trying to get this as a thing too. So rulebook rating, what would you rate the rulebook as?
Well, in my experience, games that I really, really like a lot have really bad rule books. And this is not an exception. It's one of the hardest rule books I've ever had to read. And I'm good at it now. If somebody has a question, I can go to the rule book and I can find it. But that's only because I spent so much time scouring the rule book.
It's written more almost like a continuous thought process, right? Where it kind of walks you through. Because I remember I was reading it and I was like, "Where is this? Like, it should be right here." But like, oh no, it's like on page 2.
Yeah. So at the back of the book, for example, like all the cards have these different symbols on them, and it says in the back of the book, it's got them all and it says what they do. Except the tiles. Like the tiles are at the beginning of the book on the second page where they talk about the different tiles in the game and what they do. And so I'm sitting there looking in the back of the book. I'm like, it doesn't say anything about these tiles. And so there are times where I've had a question and I've had to go back to the beginning and read the rule book to find what I'm looking for. And so it's not a well put together rule book. There's no index to help guide you towards specific topics. It feels like it's not terribly clear on the setup of the game because there's different ways to play the game. You can play with basic corporations where everybody's the same.
Yeah, and that's kind of more of your learner game, right? The first time you play, you probably should do that.
Exactly. But then they mix the basic corporation and using the unique corporations all together in the same setup section instead of having like a separate
like an
section.
Advanced setup and a basic setup.
It's really hard to figure out, but once you
found because I played solo after we had played as a group, and when I bring over a game and we're playing it for the first time, I open it and I hand you the rule book. I let you read it because you're the rules guy. You enjoy doing that, and that works. That just works for our group. That works better than anything because. For sure. If I pull out the rule book and I start trying to explain out of it, the first thing you're going to be doing is taking it out of my hands and questioning me anyway. So
that's the worst thing about playing a game with him. Like if he hasn't played it with you and you're like, "Oh, this is what you do." He's like, "Give me the rule book."
Yeah.
So he'll come up with like some crazy interaction that you haven't come up with in like 3 or 4 games. And he's like, "I don't like this."
So I've found that like the way that when I bring over a new game, I just hand him the rule book, and that works great. So we had played once. And he's good with rule books. I felt like that first game went really smooth and everything. But I was like, all right, I'm ready to try the solo variant. And I opened up the rule book and I went, all right, so I'm just going to get on YouTube. and if you want a better detailed rules explanation than what we did in the previous video,
how to play video,
they have like an official rules thing, and it's like a half hour, 45 minutes.
So it's almost like its own web series.
It's broken into like, I want to say it was like 7 videos, but they kind of go topic by topic, which is a lot easier to digest in the way the rulebook presents everything. And with that, I watched that and I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's a lot easier to take in than the rulebook is. And then I kind of was able to reference the rulebook when I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go, let's kind of just final wrap up. So your final thoughts on Terraforming Mars. Russ, you can go last.
I love the game. I think it's great. It's probably my favorite engine builder. Definitely my favorite heavy engine builder. Not that I've played a ton of them, but it's definitely my favorite on the heavier side that I have played. It's really, really cool. It's had the kind of surprising effect on me of I'm not a big space guy. It makes me want to try more space games. Things like Gaia Project, stuff like that. I would like to try that, and I think that some of that credit is due to Terraforming Mars. Not that they're necessarily particularly similar games, but there are similarities. And it's definitely kind of opened my eyes to both more space-themed games and looking for games that ride on their mechanics, because this game absolutely, it was the mechanics that hooked me. And I know that Star Wars is something that a lot of these other guys are into. I've never been a Star Wars guy. Whenever they bring up a game about Star Wars, I'm like, how Star Wars is it? Like, is this a game? Like, am I going to get by playing this on the mechanics? You know, is it fun to play if I don't know every character in Star Wars? And if a game can ride on the mechanics, I'm in. This game kind of taught me to care less about theme, even though the theme works perfectly with the mechanics. To kind of look at it in that reverse of what I usually do, because I'm also kind of a theme guy. I like going for theme, but yeah, I love this game. I think it's great. It's mechanically just solid, and the theme works really well with it, even if you're not into space. I think it's a good game for anyone who's looking for a more complex engine builder.
I don't know what I could say about it other than what I've already said. I think it's awesome. I love how immersive it makes it feel. I actually feel like I'm in charge of a giant corporation who's there to make a name for itself, Terraforming Mars. I love it. I feel like it's a deeper game than what you would normally play with somebody who's new into the hobby. This is for someone who's started into the hobby and now they're looking to go a little bit deeper. I find a lot of similarities between this and Seven Wonders in some ways, especially if you play with the drafting mechanic. When you get your cards and you draft them, it's a lot like Seven Wonders because you've got your resources in front of you. You have to use them to play cards, and you're just trying to create, you're trying to create combos on your different cards. So if you really like Seven Wonders for the mechanics and stuff, I would say this is a great next step. I like it also because it feels kind of Euro-y, but there's enough player interaction on the cards and on the board that it's not a straight Euro. I like a game where I can mess around with the other people, where I can mess up their plans, and there's plenty of cards on here, like I was talking about before, crashing the meteor into Alex's trees and taking down his stuff. And I really like the player interaction, and I like how you're vying over the good spots on the board as well.
All right, Russ.
It's okay. I mean, so I would never discourage people from playing it. I enjoy it. I enjoy it enough that I would tell people it's good and this is what's good about it. It's not going to make it onto my shelf currently simply because of some of the downsides that I see with the components. For some reason, it doesn't click. I can't put my finger on it, so I don't want to make it seem like maybe it's theme or the mechanics are awesome. I agree with everything you guys say, but something just doesn't catch me, and that happens with games, right?
Not every game is for everyone.
Not every game is for everyone. So there's nothing that I would really say is negative about this game other than the box, and then I would feel like I would want to spend too much on the aftermarket for the game, if that makes sense, because I would want player boards. I would want upgraded components because it would be nice to have. So that's probably my only downside, but if someone was looking for an engine builder, I would definitely tell them about this game.
I did want to say, too, about this game, I agree with you that the quality seems a little lower than its $60 price point. I would have no problem paying $60 for this game because I know that I would play it enough to get that to get that money out of it. If you don't really like the game, or like for you it doesn't click, I would say don't spend that money on the game. I would spend it because I would feel like I'd get my money out of it, regardless of some of the cheaper components. It probably would have done a lot better if it had gone the Kickstarter route, and if they had,
can imagine it would
been able to sink more money into it. And I hope at some point they release a second edition.
I want a deluxeified edition.
I want like a second edition, a deluxe edition, where they go the Kickstarter route and just make everything amazing.
I definitely think this has staying power and will owe it. It kind of fits. Like I could see this still getting played 5 6 years from now. Like it's a very clean game, and I don't feel like you need to go to the rule books a whole bunch when you play it once you figure it out. So, I mean, there is definitely upside, and for me, it just doesn't click. I don't know what it is. So,
yep. So yeah, I love this game, and I'm I've come to accept and look forward to spending lots and lots of money in upgrading this game for cool. But I want to hear from you guys watching. If you have suggestions for inserts or component upgrades and stuff, leave it in the comments below or shoot us an email. The playthru at ktdata.net. And make sure you guys like and subscribe the video if you like it for more episodes. And check out some of our past episodes. Those ones are good too. And we will see you all next time on The Playthru.